salt to the streets.
The upper left. Just upper left.
Welcome to the salt of the streets, coming at you every week with this food for thought. Hope you ready to eat. With everything going on in this nation, we need some information, and that's why salt need to be stationed in your rotation. With real talking, real topics, real people, real problems. Think we need some help to solve them, and leave it up to Colin and the Donovan.
Right,
Cause that's
what's that? Up, man.
Let's get ready.
And we're live.
We're out here. All right. Thank you very much for joining us. Salt of the Streets Pre-Show, episode 87. Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
No.
Thank you for joining us. My name is Donovan. This is Colin. We are joined by Elijah today. Thank you very much for being here. We're happy to have you.
Thank you.
It has been over a year. It was episode 16.
16.
When you and the boys were on here.
Wow.
And that was the pre-show. This says 2 years ago.
I believe that.
Uploaded on June 4th. So it's been a fucking
Dang.
minute.
It's almost a
Oh, yeah.
anniversary.
Wow. Oh, just over 2 years. Yeah.
Yeah.
I bet I could find out in this book when they were here.
I'm sure you can.
Anyway.
That is the Salt of the Streets Bible right there.
Yeah, I have. This is the only thing that I've used for every episode that we've done Assault of the Streets. So I have everything in here.
That's super nice to have.
Since the very first episode.
I'm having another idea about tables.
What?
We could
You want to
we could
paste
take
all my
all
notes?
those pages.
Man.
Once it's full, we'll paste them down on the table. We'll throw a clear coat over top of that, and then people will sign over top of that.
Do you want to know something really funny?
That would be dope.
That is a really good idea. At one point, my mom lived with, do you remember Trenton Pajamula,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So at one point, my mom and Trenton lived together. When I moved out of my house, Trenton moved into my old room and like paid rent there and lived there for a while. And then when my mom, that's so funny. I've never like told anyone that. But, like our friends went and visited, like we all knew that, but I've never like explained that to anyone. So that's really funny. And so then when they moved out of that house, they moved together into another house and lived with another guy. And at the time when he was living there, he was still working at the shipyard and he was getting parking tickets all the time, continually parking where he wasn't supposed to. And so he just stayed getting like citations or whatever the fuck. And he had a stack of them on the counter because he brought in a stack from work one day. And so he had like a literal stack of parking citations. And my mom took them and she took a bar stool and she covered the top of the bar stool with it and then put a clear coat on it and then gave it to him for his birthday. And so there's this stool somewhere, I think that she has it, that still has like all these parking citations all over the top of it.
I want to see that.
It's awesome.
I wanna
It's
see
pretty
that.
great. Yeah, I'm sure it can be found somewhere. So today, Elijah, PNW Nils, right? Do you rap it or just Nils, or is it?
Nah, it's PNW Nils
Okay,
now. There's too
okay.
many Nils in the world.
Okay.
Too many nils.
I feel the same way about like babies, like Lil Baby, Da Baby. Like there's all these people with baby in their name. I think that's. What do you think that's just a lack of creativity? Do you think there's something? Is it like a rap name generator that's like, you know, your street that you grew up on plus whatever your mom's maiden name was is like your rap name? Like how do they all keep getting baby mixed into their name?
Well, I don't know. I think it's just kind of whatever you introduce yourself as is kind of what you want to stay with, right? Because
Yeah.
if you introduce someone as your government name, next time you say your nickname, the next time you say your stage name, it's kind of hard. I didn't even want to change my name really, but it's embarrassing to tell someone, look me up this way, that way. You got to jump through all these hurdles. So
Yeah.
I understand it.
So because I believe the last time you were here it was just Nils, right?
Yeah.
And then since then it's PNW Nils. So did you go back and did you change everything to say PNW Nils?
Yeah, so once we actually started uploading on things, I actually went back and changed everything to PNW Nils.
Yeah. So I have also noticed, are you guys done posting things on SoundCloud primarily? Are you trying to go for other places primarily? So I know the last time Denzel was here, he didn't say outright, but also expressed some displeasure with the idea of trying to grow on SoundCloud just because it's so difficult, you know, can prove so difficult. Like, so he didn't say like I'm done with SoundCloud, I think we're done with SoundCloud, but we talked about how difficult it can be to make it in social media and just in this age of so many people trying to put out content. And so are you guys trying to move away from SoundCloud? Or, because I've just noticed the links, or they're not, you know, check this link on SoundCloud anymore. It will take you to a page where you can select to go to Spotify or to Apple Music or to all these different places. So you guys are trying to move away from SoundCloud?
Not necessarily move away. I mean, more outlets are better, right? So,
Yeah.
I wouldn't say necessarily move away, but when someone addresses you as like, oh, he's just a SoundCloud rapper, you got all these memes coming out from that. It
Yes.
doesn't help.
Yeah.
It doesn't help. But you definitely, I don't think we're going to dismiss the idea of still posting on there.
Yeah, that's just not the primary source anymore, SoundCloud.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like it's always good to have, like you said, there's more platforms.
For sure.
But especially, I think, with SoundCloud, it is just so much more difficult. Because you think for, like, video content, you're a very, very small fish in a giant sea of YouTube.
Yeah.
And then SoundCloud, as far as, like, music and audio goes, I think it's the same exact way. It's just, you're going to get lost. I mean, you have that extra added, problem of trying to get noticed because the only platform that is, supporting you, you're just one of 10 billion.
Yeah.
It's really hard to get noticed. So, but I last night when I was working on the studio and all that, I was mostly listening on Spotify and Apple Music. And I like those apps so much more than SoundCloud app too. I'm
Yes.
just going to say.
The
I don't
Sound-
even listen to ours on SoundCloud.
The
I'll listen
SoundCloud
to
app
it.
is shit. It's
It is.
unfortunate. The SoundCloud app is absolute shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It doesn't. It's been the same way for
Forever.
years. Yeah, I
Visually,
know,
it's
like,
not
it's-
as pleasing either.
No,
Yeah.
no. The orange it's not good. Yeah, the color scheme, the whole everything is not good.
It's like walking into a fast food restaurant. You get that color vibe. You're like, ugh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Get out of here.
Yeah, bad
Yeah.
vibes.
It does feel nice. Just speaking to more sources, like when people ask, like, "Oh, where can I listen to your podcast?" Like anywhere that you
Anywhere.
can get a podcast is where you can find us. Like you just have to be able to look it up, And
And if you can't find us on whatever app you're using,
Yeah.
let us know because we'll get out there. There's a lot of places out there.
we
now.
will remedy that. But
Absolutely.
I've not found a place, or I've not heard someone say, I can't find you on this. Spotify was
Yeah.
the one, and then we fixed that we
Yeah.
weren't on Spotify for some reason, and now we are.
Yeah, because
so.
they originally, it was really hard to get on to Spotify when they first started doing podcasts. You had to go some weird review process and then get approved. And then once that kind of died down, I was like, oh no, just send us your RSS feed, and
Yeah.
within a couple days, you're in. Mm-hmm. And so it's been a lot easier that way. But
It's the same
yeah,
thing
at first
with
it
Apple.
was
Yeah.
Apple was
It
that
takes
took
a
a
while.
couple days.
It does take a while, yeah.
Yes.
I'm wondering now with our new studio, which is not that new, but we have great Wi-Fi now. We're connected directly to the internet, which
That's
is
nice.
key.
That's going to be very helpful.
I'm going to see if I can pull up
I imagine that will be helpful for all your editing and uploading of the videos and whatnot too.
I'm hardwired in now, baby.
There you go.
This
Tapped
is-
in. Tapped in.
Yeah, no
son.
more 8-hour. Oh, man. I tried to upload some YouTube videos this last week 3 times. And I'd either drop internet somewhere through the upload or something. It drove me insane. No more problems anymore, though.
Well, the last time that I had to upload the episode, I had a bad day and then came home and I was just having all this problem with just copy and paste, like getting something to copy and paste correctly to make all the posts and everything look the same.
Mm-hmm.
And I literally had tears coming down my face when I was done. I had to stop. I can't do it. I was going to break my computer. I fucking hate computers. I hate technology. I hate any of that shit. I hate it. And part of the reason that I teamed up with Colin is because he is willing to do the computer stuff. And he's an amazing person. He's got all the talent on the other side, but God damn it if I wasn't but also I don't want to do anything with the computer. And he was like, oh, I'll do that. I was like, fucking, thank God, dude. Thank God.
I feel like you're one of those guys. There's always those people that you meet that no matter what they do, they touch technology and it fucking explodes.
Right.
Don's one of those people.
I can't,
you can't touch a computer.
Mm-hmm.
It'll blow up for no reason whatsoever other than the fact that you tried to get involved.
Cars, it's things as simple as cars. I've never had a car that didn't break for one reason or another. I've put hundreds of dollars into every car that I've ever owned because I'll drive it for a few months, it'll start to break,
Yeah.
This truck, I bought this truck from a dealership and I'm like, oh, give me warranties on everything. I'll pay more money so you fix all the shit if it breaks. I'm done dealing with any of that other shit. So today,
What are we going to talk about?
today we are going to talk about, obviously we're going to talk about your music some more. We're going to talk about your music. We're going to talk about Upper Left as a group. We are going to talk about coronavirus. Sorry, I got lost for a second. Yesterday I worked out with John, and I've been working out with John
Every Friday?
every Friday my neighbor across the
Okay.
alley, John.
All right.
And he's just like this super fit, ex-Navy guy.
yeah.
He's got like a squat rack and all this stuff in his garage, so he's just stay-home
fucking
dad,
jacked.
just
Hell
killing
yeah.
it all the time. Yeah, he's in extremely good shape. And so I was like, John, I'm working out in the morning by myself before I go to work. I'm not seeing results. Like, what can you do for me? So for I'm working out with John, it's been like a month now. Last week we did fucking legs. I did squats and shit, and for 4 goddamn days my legs hurt. I was like struggling to stand up. Oh, it was horrible. I haven't squatted like since high school, like proper like gym squatted since high school. It was horrible. And then yesterday we did like chest and arms, and then I went home and it was 3 o'clock and I was like falling asleep on the couch, and I coffee and everything that I could do to still come 8 o'clock I was dying. So I didn't have things written down like I wanted to, so that's why I'm lost in my head. So that's...
We'll get through.
Anyway, we're going to talk some updates about Corona, some things that happened. We have some things opening back up, businesses, restaurants, things like that. Phase 2, we're out here, phase 2ing it up, so...
Yeah, it's kind of weird how, with everything else that's gone on in the last
So
couple
like,
weeks,
yeah.
the Corona's kind of taken a couple back seats.
Yeah, it's on the back burner for
Yeah.
sure.
It's like, we got more important stuff to worry about than the fucking pandemic right now.
Yeah, so...
Which says a lot.
Yeah, so that won't be, we're going to talk about it, but it mixed in with other things.
Yeah.
We're also going to talk about the protests that are still going on, because there's still protests that are continuing. They're much more, there's like less tertiary nonsense going on through, we talked about it last week, that a lot of the riots and stuff like that going on the outside of the peaceful protesters, like we talked, other people coming from outside, people taking advantage of the situation and fucking it up, But at the core of all of these things, there has always been a group of people that are there trying to dissuade people from breaking things, that are there saying, this is not what we're here for. We're here to be peaceful. We're here to spread this message. We're trying to make positive change. We have tried to be consistent about that since all of this started, to ensure that everyone understands that that is the reality of what's going on, regardless of whatever media you're consuming, whether if they're only calling it riots or whatever, there, especially in the beginning, there was bullshit going on that has largely died down now, and we'll talk about that more, but
it seems to be now that we've kind of worked past that. The vast majority of all like the looting or the rioting or all the bad stuff that kind of comes with that first initial thing.
Yeah.
A lot of the, those little fringe groups and stuff, they work themselves into protests and then they cause fucking problems. The anarchists
and they
all
get
those
weeded
people,
out by the
and then eventually
people who have good intentions.
I mean, we saw those videos like that dude in Seattle he was out there chipping out bricks so they could throw him at the cops. The
Got his ass
protesters
beat.
scooped him up, beat the shit out of him, and threw him to the fucking cops.
Yeah.
It was great.
Yeah, he had a
was
hammer
great.
and was chipping up the sidewalk,
Yeah.
getting bricks and handing them out to people, trying to get them to throw
Yeah.
bricks. Yeah, and so some protesters were like, "No, fuck that,
Not-
dog! Like that's
not anymore."
that's not what we're here for."
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So it's like I said, it's gonna come because there's gonna be some people who are pissed off, and there's gonna be some people who are there to take advantage, and they're gonna be able to persuade other people who are extra pissed off to do bad things, and so there's it's. But and I do find it interesting, and I think we'll talk about this more, that the protests have grown and grown. We've seen them even extend into other smaller parts, into Silverdale and stuff like that. They're all over the place,
And globally, too.
and especially in Minnesota and stuff. Those protests are still continuing.
Yeah.
But it's interesting that those are getting less coverage than like the Chaz, the autonomous zone that's going on in Seattle. That seems to be just capturing everyone's fucking attention,
Right.
not the things that. In the beginning, all these, I'm going to, in the more conservative news media that are like, why can't they be peaceful? Why can't they do this? Why can't this happen? And now that that's happening, that's not what's capturing the news attention. It's still the bullshit that's going on,
It's
now
always gonna
that,
be something.
right, now that it's exactly what you asked for, the way that you asked for it to be done, you don't care about that anymore. You want it to be over here.
Focus.
Yeah. So
You gotta move focus that way.
Yeah, so
drive the narrative home.
We'll definitely talk about some media influences, and as far as everything, because media just has such a huge influence on.
So bad too. So irresponsible.
Yeah. So we'll talk about all of that. We'll get your take on that. And
Did you happen to watch that new Dave Chappelle drop?
I did.
Yesterday?
I saw it. I did not watch it though.
Oh my god, it's so good.
Yeah,
If we had an
definitely
extra half
watch it.
hour, we'd stop right now just to watch
Yeah,
it. But
for sure.
we're on a tight schedule.
because it's not
watch
like,
it.
I don't even know what the origin of it is. It almost seems like he was going to have a private comedy show somewhere, and then was like completely sidetracked, because it's not a comedy set at all. There's like,
There's like two
a
or three
handful of
punchlines.
jokes, that are just
Yeah.
kind of mixed in with what he's talking about. But he essentially just talks about the protest and the movement for 30 minutes,
Yeah.
but it's set up. People are there in sectioned, they're like painted in the grass squares with chairs and stuff where people can sit that are socially distanced. And so like it looks like he was going to do a comedy show, and then was like, this is what I'm doing instead, because at the end he said, thank you, have a good night, and left. So, but it's only a part, so I don't know if that's just part of a larger special that he planned or part of whatever, because the YouTube page that posted also, at least the one that I saw it from, is called Netflix is a Joke.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I have no idea. I
Yeah.
have not
Check
looked
Netflix
up
real
the
quick.
further origins of the film or anything like that, because I don't know if like it's just part of a larger video that is a special or I don't know. But
Isn't
yeah,
it called like 863 or something?
846.
846.
Yep, 846. Yeah. So
And the fucking ties that he has with his life with that number is wild.
yeah, it was very interesting. I would definitely recommend everybody watch that. It's like it's only 25 minutes. It's very
Definitely,
good.
definitely watch it.
So good.
Very, very worth it. I saw it. It came out yesterday morning at like super, super early or overnight or something. And I was on Instagram, saw Joe Rogan posted about it, and I was like, oh, fuck yeah, new Dave Chappelle special. I'm about to watch that shit. So I pulled it up on YouTube, and I was like, this is not funny at all. And I wasn't disappointed, like, oh my God, this is what the fuck, like, this isn't funny, but it's...
It was perfect.
Right.
I
It is-
didn't know what I was walking into, and then all of a sudden I was like, oh, this is... Okay.
Yeah,
I'm on board. This is good.
He talks about the protest itself, and then also people talking about him not saying anything and why he hasn't made a big public statement, and so he addresses everything and why he hasn't addressed it, and what's is very good. It's very good.
In the way only Dave Chappelle can, because Dave Chappelle is like, I don't know, he's just so different than everyone else in that kind of circle. Like, he's part comedian, he's part, like, I don't know, he's just an icon, and I don't know, it's just, he's a very strange individual when it comes to like his
Very
cultural import. It's fucking great. And by the way, it's not on Netflix right now.
No.
So maybe it is coming out or something, but
No, it's just on YouTube. It's
Yeah.
just a YouTube video, and that's what I was saying. The YouTube page that posted it is called Netflix is a Joke. And so I don't know if...
because he's been doing a string of the Netflix specials.
Yes.
And so I wonder if that was one maybe that was supposed to come out, and they were like, nah, fuck that, we can't do it right now.
Well,
He was like,
he's
"Nah."
talking about George Floyd, so it couldn't have been
right
any
then.
more than, 2
Yeah.
weeks ago, because it wasn't any more than 2 weeks
true.
ago. So it was just like a week before the last show that we did that he actually died. So
2 weeks ago.
he even
seems like
talked
so
about
much
the
longer
Candace
than that.
Owens video. So it has to
Yeah.
be within the last... Candace Owens video was maybe a week ago. And
Yeah.
so it has to be within the last week that he actually did that.
When it's pregnant.
Yeah,
That's awesome.
yeah, he calls Laura Ingraham a cunt. It's a whole thing.
Oh,
It's
really?
it's
Yes.
great. Yeah, it's great.
Oh yeah, it's so good.
It's fantastic. Did you watch the Candace Owens video?
My brother showed me a clip of it. I haven't watched all of it though.
Words. It's.
I try not
We're
to watch
definitely going to
Candace
talk about
Owens.
Candace
Yeah,
Owens
same.
video. I waited several days because I had seen people talking about it, and I just was like, I don't like Candace Owens as it is. And so I was like, I just don't know that I even give a fuck what her take is on this situation.
I know I don't.
Yeah, and Jordan watched it and said you should watch it.
Yeah.
So you should she's right. You should watch it. But you should watch it. So I waited, and then I watched it at work a couple of days ago, and so I have a whole thing of notes here about the Candace Owens video. So we'll talk about the Candace Owens video and
Great.
kind of takes like that and exactly why that's just not what anybody needs in their life right now. So we'll talk about everyone. Let me just.
Go
A
ahead.
lot of people defended it with this, right? Everyone is entitled to share their opinion. And that's something that we stand by as Americans, as the creators of this podcast, as the creators of this company. The free speech is the First Amendment, and that is the most important thing in America. So everyone is entitled to their opinion, and I would never tell anyone that they shouldn't express their opinion. But I also said before, I live my life, I don't lie. And I don't generally hold myself back from things because I don't think that it generally has a benefit, but there's a time and a place for everything.
Absolutely.
And sometimes it is the time and the place to shut your fucking mouth and keep your goddamn opinion to yourself, and later we can talk about it and we can understand why you feel that way. But there is just You don't always have to say what you think, you know?
Exactly.
And in my personal opinion, I have talked for maybe 1,000 hours now. You know, we've talked for probably 1,000 hours now, something collectively on this show. That's the hardest lesson to learn about talking, I think, is when you need to stop talking and when you need to listen. So I understand that, but I also would hope that someone who makes their living talking on the internet and giving speeches and teaching people how to have a proper discourse, I would really think that someone like that would understand when is the time and place to share their opinion and whether or not it's going to add value to the conversation.
Yeah.
And
I think we want to dive deeper into that because I have lots to say on that topic.
Yeah.
Because
it's going to be a great show
when it comes to
today.
Candace Owen, at least as when her take and the validity of her take and all this stuff, I think a lot of it's overblown because for the most part, Candace Owens tries hard, but I think she's just I don't want to say she's too young, but she just doesn't have the ability to stop and think about things before she says them.
Yeah.
It's kind of become more of a ideologue than anything else.
Well, there's like that really great clip of her on Joe Rogan, where they're, and if you haven't seen this, you should definitely
I've
look it
seen
up.
that.
Yeah, where they're going back and forth about climate change and her, like, she doesn't have any evidence to back up her claim or like her stance, but that's just what I believe. I just don't believe it. I just think that it's bullshit. I just don't believe it, and Joe's like, well, that's fine,
stupid.
but what I'm saying to you, like, is you can't say stuff like that without having some type of evidence because people are listening to what you're saying.
Yeah, you have a following. You're too powerful.
Right. You're teaching people how to think. And if you are thinking in the way that, well, this is my opinion, I don't need evidence, this is just what I think, people are going to learn to think that way. And you're telling people that that's the wrong way to think and then showing them that that's the right thing to do, Yeah. And it's strange that so many people like Candace Owens have a public stage and are able to be so openly hypocritical and not see it within themselves and have their following not see it. Like I said, she is constantly talking about, that's not the right way to have a conversation. That's not how we do it. But then when you're here talking to Joe Rogan, who's maybe one of the best conversationalists of our time, I think we've seen that over the last 10 years that he's been doing a podcast. And there's one person who's really fucking good at talking. Joe Rogan's up there, and if you're not able to have a clear, concise conversation with Joe Rogan, who's going to ask you clarifying questions to ensure that you have every opportunity to be clear and concise, then maybe you're not really good at what you think that you're good at, know? And it's odd that someone like that is still able to have such a following after something like that and after the shit that happened this week. It's just weird.
Well, that's kind of one of the issues too, right? Because like her whole, not like to take away anything that she does, because obviously she has a following, but her following is not based off of an interview format, right? It's a lot of just talk to the camera.
Yeah.
See, that's
ranting
different about
something
video.
different about it. Yeah,
Right.
there's an interview is an interview.
Yeah, and when you're questioned on shit that you've said and shit that you've done, it's really hard to walk that back if you weren't confident in what you said at the time. We'll get into that more. So it's going to be a great show this week. Before we continue, I need you to tell us what you ate today before we got here.
Oh, let me tell you. All right. So last night, Carolina made burritos, right? And so she made these slow simmered in the crock pot black beans, like from the dried bean form, and they are killer.
Ecuadorian style.
Yeah. So we did that, and so there's a lot of leftover beans.
I've been seeing her throw down in the kitchen the last couple of weeks.
I love the COVIDs right now. For a woman who didn't spend much time cooking and all that good stuff because she works hella late and all that, so that's just kind of what I do. But since she's been home and she's been cooking, it's made me really reevaluate whether or not she should go back to work, because it's really nice not to have to worry about it and have epically great meals. So
sorry, go ahead.
I was gonna say, but I took those beans,
and
a little bit of a scoop of rice, and then I fried up that cottage bacon. It's kind of like hammy type bacon.
Okay, I've heard you talk about this before.
Yeah, and I just threw a bunch of stuff in there and some really, really over easy eggs on top, and just mix it up together. That was a disgusting noise. I apologize for that. I heard that. I'm sorry. But that's what I had
just
for breakfast.
Just be thankful you don't
fantastic.
have headphones on.
Yeah.
It is definitely nice to have a stay-at-home wife who enjoys being a stay-at-home wife. Mm-hmm. Far be it for me to place anyone in any fucking
category,
gender roles, but but my wife loves to be a stay-at-home wife, and it's fucking sick.
It is.
It's awesome.
It's nice.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. So with that, I think we're going to end the pre-show. I think we move on to the real show. I want to thank everyone again for joining us for the pre-show. Thank you, obviously, Elijah, for being here. You are at PNW Nils on Twitter and Instagram, correct? Is it the same on both?
Same,
Is it okay? Is it just PNW Nils? Is there any dots or anything in there?
No,
I want to make
just
sure that everyone gets
straight
it.
across. Yeah.
All right.
Yep.
At PNW Nils, Twitter, Instagram, at upper left, on SoundCloud, on any platform, honestly, at this point. I mean, Apple, SoundCloud, I mean, any of that shit.
Everywhere.
Spotify, yeah, anywhere. So,
like the podcast.
did I see, are you guys working on a video or something? Is that-
We could talk about that.
Okay.
We can talk
All
about
right.
that.
So to be continued on that end. And Colin and I am at Salt of the Street on Twitter and at alpaca_Donovan on Instagram. He's at Big Bird Offie on both those things. You can find all of this on our website at saltofthestreets.com, our Facebook at Salt of the Streets, YouTube at Salt of the Streets, Instagram at Salt of the Streets. Everything is there. We're going to post all of Elijah's stuff, upper left stuff on Monday with all the episode and everything. That's it. We're out of here. See you guys later.